Get the unmissable news stories of the day.
This is the Beijing Hour.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host,
Shane Bigham, with you on this Friday, June 19th, 2026. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, coming to you live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, people across China are now enjoying the annual Duanwu Festival holiday and its cultural traditions. US and Iranian negotiators are not meeting in Switzerland on Friday, despite the agreement to stop the war and seek a permanent peace deal. Health workers fighting the Ebola virus in the DRC are concerned about a secondary crisis in the country. In business, China's added billions to its consumer trade and subsidy program. In sports, Mexico is the first country to secure a spot in the World Cup knockout rounds. In culture and entertainment, the rise of Chinese animation is in the spotlight at the Shanghai International Film Festival. Now the day's top stories. People across China are celebrating the Duanwu Festival, or Duanwu Festival. A three-day holiday is underway from Friday to Sunday. The celebrations originate from southern China, where drums beat to the fast and furious paddling of dragon boats. Villagers and tourists cheer on the competing teams. In Xinjiang, over 1,000 students have learned how to make Zongzi, the sticky rice dumplings, which are also a festival staple. In Sichuan, people from the Yi ethnic group celebrate the festival with folk performances and interactive events. In Hunan, fish-shaped lanterns light up as night falls, while dances, performances, and games are also held. The Duanwu Festival has also attracted visitors from abroad.
My feeling, it was fun, but it's hard. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, very fun. Maybe next year will be better.
IE helped me. I think with practice I can do it. When I first came here, I wanted to learn more about Chinese culture, so I think this is like a great way to learn. And also everyone is so welcoming, wants us to try new things, so yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
This time for our honeymoon, we went to Hong Kong, and also we want to visit Shenzhen, and we would like to know something about the Dragon Boat race.
Holiday travel rush is also underway for the festival. China saw nearly 240 million passenger trips on Friday, up 1.9% from the first day of the holiday. The National Railway Network is set to handle around 83 million passenger trips during the travel rush period, with the peak date at 19 million. Railway authorities have stepped up train services, with around 13,000 daily passenger trains on average. Overnight high-speed trains will operate on major routes, such as those linking Beijing with Shanghai, Guangzhou, or Harbin. The 2026 China Dragon Boat Race in Sichuan has drawn large crowds of locals and tourists. Authorities have turned the event into a broader attraction involving folk markets, cultural performances, and augmented reality dragon boat experiences. A cultural official Zhao Huajun says the event links culture, tourism, and consumer spending.
We have adopted the Dragon Boat Plus model and innovatively launched a dual event mechanism combining the Super Dragon Boat League and the China Dragon Boat Race. The in-depth integration of culture, sports, tourism, and commerce has broken the boundaries of traditional consumption scenarios. It enables the popularity brought by the Dragon Boat events to sustainably boost local cultural and tourism consumption.
The southernmost city in China has also held the second annual South China Sea Dragon Boat Race. Xiaopeng reports from Sanxia.
At the Xiyu Fishing Pier on Yongxin Island, local fishermen transformed their boats into majestic fishing-style dragon boats that raced across the sea, joining a total of 14 competing teams.
I took part in this event for the first time and already won a championship. I feel very excited and happy. The festive atmosphere is also very strong.
On the water, the competitors engaged in fierce competition while cheer squads along the shore rallied support and spectators watched closely.
Each team brought its own cheerleaders to root for them. We are very happy to celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival together. The Dragon Boat Race atmosphere was especially tense. Every contestant works very hard. It really creates a strong festive vibe.
The competition also featured an innovative dragon boat tug-of-war on the water, attracting several teams.
We won the championship thanks to the unity of our whole team. Throughout the race, everyone kept in step and gave it their all.
The event also attracted many island residents who immersed themselves in festive atmosphere.
That was Xiaopeng reporting. The Dragon Boat Festival holiday also boosted travel and consumer spending across China as travel hotspots turned traditional customs into main attractions. In Harbin, Dragon Boat races and cultural events are attracting many visitors.
Hosting this race every year is a great way to keep traditional Chinese culture alive.
Local authorities are also rolling out tourism vouchers and festival promotions to encourage spending. Businesses are putting a creative spin on Zongzi, offering tourists from local specialties to new flavors.
The flavors are really unique. It was surprisingly delicious. I'd love to take some home for my family and friends.
In Guangzhou, attractions are launching shows themed on the festival and interactive experiences as holiday bookings pick up. Director Li Peng of a cultural tourism complex project says their bookings have surged.
Traffic on our official platform is more than doubled from a year ago, and ticket bookings have increased by over 10%.
2,000-year-old Dragon Boat Festival originates from southern China. That tradition is now powering everything in Guangdong, from sports and manufacturing to food and retail. The southern Chinese province welcomed over 23 million visitors in the holiday last year, generating about $16 billion in tourism revenue. Huang Fei has details.
From a centuries-old tradition to a modern sporting spectacle, the Dragon Boat Festival is making waves again. And it's much bigger than the competitions. In Guangzhou CBD, old traditions still thrive amid a modern skyline.
Behind every dragon boat race, there's a story of community. Today, 8 dragon boats are decorated with ceremonial flags and umbrellas. The elders will place rice sprouts at the bow and stern, a blessing for good harvest and good luck for the year ahead. And now, even the youngest paddlers are getting on board.
My name is Ji Yushuan. I'm 12 years old. Today I'm the flag bearer at the front, waving 2 flags by the dragon head. It's exciting, and it's a great way to stay fit.
I was even younger than him when I started. My father took me to paddle all the time. Now it's my turn to take my son. When he was younger, he mainly paddled. Now that he's grown up, he's ready to wave the flags. We hope this tradition will continue.
About an hour away in neighboring Foshan, there's a dragon boat racecourse unlike any other. Known as Formula One on water, DHL races see teams speeding through narrow river bends and crossing the finish line in reverse. The races have become a major tourism draw. Last year alone, the DHL Dragon Boat races generated more than $47 million in on-site spending. Hotels fill up days before race weekends. Restaurants and shops stay busy from morning to night.
I traveled all the way from Heilongjiang just to see this. I've been here for a week already. The way they make those tricky turns is amazing. I'll stay a little longer to explore and see more of the area.
In Foshan's Zhoujiang town, workers are building boats designed for professional 22-person races and shipping them across China and overseas.
We produce up to 1,000 dragon boats a year. We're working overtime every day to fill orders, not just from the region, but from Southeast Asia and Europe as well.
What was once a traditional craft has grown into a thriving industry, and demand keeps growing.
From June to July this year, Guangdong will host more than 200 dragon boat events and over 500 races. Nearly 100,000 enthusiasts will take part.
The dragon boat boom is also lifting sales of festival foods, cultural products, and tourism services.
Zongzi represents traditional Chinese culture, and many foreigners like it, too. We combined local soup recipes, creating a new experience where you can enjoy 2 treats in one bite.
Eligible international visitors can enjoy tax refund and additional discounts at our downtown duty-free store. The discounts can add up to 50% off. Since we opened, we've welcomed customers from dozens of countries.
The government has also introduced $4 million in tourism incentives linked to train tickets, airline tickets, and resorts, encouraging visitors to stay longer and spend more.
Dragon boat racing is often seen as a test of teamwork, endurance, and determination. Now that same spirit is powering a new economic story. Cultural heritage isn't just a thing in the past, it's creating opportunities for the future.
That was Huang Fei reporting. Coming up, US and Iranian peace negotiations in Switzerland will not go ahead on Friday.
A Chinese car maker, a Japanese factory, a British production line. Could this be the future of the global auto industry? As Chery considers building vehicles at Nissan's Sunderland plant, we examine whether this is simply a business deal or a sign of a new phase in China's automotive globalization. Why are Chinese makers shifting from exporting vehicles to building overseas production networks? How likely is this partnership move beyond an MOU? And amid political, regulatory, and market uncertainties, could this become a blueprint for China's global expansion or a cautionary tale? Get all these and more at this week's Chat Lounge, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on CGTN Radio.
Switzerland says talks between the U.S. and Iran on Friday are off. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has pulled out of a planned trip to meet Iranian negotiators in Switzerland. Following Thursday's signing of a memorandum of understanding, Iran reopened the Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping without transit fees for 60 days, and the U.S. lifted a military blockade of vessels to and from Iranian ports. Vance announced a 60-day countdown toward a permanent agreement to end the war against Iran. Walter Morris reports from Washington, D.C.
Thursday, the White House sent a copy of the Memorandum of Understanding to Congress. New images are coming in of U.S. President Donald Trump signing the document titled Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America. According to the text, the MOU begins with the declaration of an immediate and permanent end to military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. In addition to ending hostilities between the countries, the U.S. will end the naval blockade on Iranian ports within 30 days. The document states that Iran will ensure safe passage of commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. The deal also calls for Iran to dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium, and it waives U.S. sanctions. As part of the MOU, Washington and Tehran commit to negotiating a final deal in 60 days, but they can extend that period if they both agree. And Thursday, Vance held a briefing at the White House where he provided more details about the MOU. He told reporters that Iran will only get the economic benefits if they perform. He also touched on Tehran's missile capabilities, saying all countries have the right to self-defense.
Israel doesn't give up the right of self-defense if Hezbollah fires rockets or drones at Israel. The Iranians don't give up the right of self-defense in their country, but we do expect that as part of the final deal, they are not going to be able to build the kind of missiles that can broadly threaten the entire world. And that's what the President of the United States said yesterday. And look, I mean, it's very simple. You can't tell a country, whether Israel or Iran, they're not allowed to have any self-defense. That's not what the President has asked. That's not what the President has requested. But as part of the final deal, what we want to see is Iran not funding regional instability, funding regional terrorism, and of course trying to rebuild their nuclear weapons program. That's the main thing.
In a letter to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the top Democrats on the Foreign Affairs, Intelligence, and Armed Services Committees demanded more details about the MOU and any associated side agreements. Several lawmakers are calling on Rubio to explain the administration's plans for Iran's nuclear program and Lebanon. After the text was released, several of Trump's fellow Republicans in the Senate raised concerns over the deal, and some called it a major blunder. But the White House says the agreement strengthens U.S. security and drives down energy costs.
That was Walter Morris in Washington. Iranian Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei says permission's been granted for the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Tehran and Washington, despite lingering differences. Ehsan Kevani has more.
Politicians in Iran interpret the MOU as a great success for Iran. A top aide to the Supreme Leader says, quote, where we stand right now, that's thanks to the people's bravery, the courage of our armed forces, and the way diplomacy and the field have worked hand in hand. Other politicians have also expressed similar positions. Iran's chief negotiator and the parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, said in an interview on national television that when you look at this MOU, what it really shows is American failure, plain and simple. But when talking to people and journalists, the reactions are all over the map. Some folks say this divide between Iran and the U.S. has been around for decades. You can't just fix it in 60 days. But then you've got the other side. They say real movement is happening. They think Tehran actually wants to change course. So what we're seeing here among the people is a whole lot of fear mixed with a little bit of hope. One thing everybody seems to agree on is that the Iranian people are exhausted. They're over the sanctions, over the economy, over the mismanagement at home. And underneath all that frustration, most of them are quietly praying that this time things might actually change. One real fear among people is the possible obstacles on the path to a lasting peace created by domestic hardliners. A member of Iran Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee says Iran should pursue peace with the U.S., though he doesn't see peace itself coming, just a ceasefire and understanding. He's hopeful it leads somewhere, but says that depends on moderates like Ghalibaf staying in control and hardliners not standing in the way.
That was Ehsan Kevani reporting. Ebrahim Razaei is a spokesperson for the Iranian Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Commission. During an interview with Saper Saremi, he said he was not very optimistic about the agreement with the U.S. given Washington's past breaches of its commitments, but Tehran will continue talks.
The MOU is described as a short, general document with many details to be negotiated over the next 60 days. In your view, what are the biggest risks that could still derail the process?
Look, personally, I am not very optimistic about an agreement with the United States. The reason is their past breaches of commitments and our previous experiences. The two wars that were imposed on us over the past year both occurred while we were in the middle of negotiations with the Americans. Therefore, in Tehran, we are also preparing ourselves for the possibility of another war. We do not believe what the Americans say, and we act based on our own calculations. At the same time, we are using the option of negotiation and diplomacy as well, and we will continue to have talks with the Americans. What has become clear to the Americans is that we have the tools and the readiness both to escalate tensions in the region and to confront them if necessary. We have defensive power, and we can also make the situation difficult for them in other arenas. Today, Iran's strategic depth and power are greater than before, and we have the ability to impose our will on our enemies. The Americans should be careful not to make us angry.
That was Ebrahim Razaei, a spokesperson for the Iranian Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Commission. Israel has reportedly killed 4 people in new attacks on southern Lebanon, despite the signing of the U.S.-Iran MOU urging a truce on all fronts. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun says the war's damaged 18% of territory, displaced over 1 million people, killed over 3,500 Lebanese people, and destroyed 68,000 homes. The Lebanese people doubt Israel will give them respite and allow peace.
We hope there will be an agreement that preserves the citizens' dignity and their livelihood, and for people to return to the border areas. But this situation is very difficult. In our days, I don't know how we will get by. I am 70 years old. 70 years old. What do I have left? And those I brought into this life, my children, how are they going to live?
Of course, Israel does not commit. Of course, 100%. Israel does not commit, and they have never ever abided. We saw what they did in Gaza. The whole world gathered for an agreement in Gaza, and they are still bombing them. They still are. And on our border, it is still active. It doesn't quiet down.
Well, CGTN's conducted an online survey on its English, Arabic, Russian, Spanish, and French platforms, drawing the views of nearly 10,000 respondents. More than 90% of those surveyed say the U.S. government failed to achieve its strategic objectives. Almost 90% say Washington gradually lost control over ending its war on Iran. 93% say U.S. intervention and destabilizing policy supporting Israel in its war on Palestine and Iran were key drivers of the sharp deterioration of security in the Middle East. More than 93% believe the conflict further accelerates the decline of U.S. influence in the region. Over 92% say limited military intervention and economic coercion are primary U.S. tools to maintain its hegemony. And the U.S. strategy of backing regional allies and engaging in limited intervention has fallen apart. More than 86% say America's fragile global alliance and its declining influence have been exposed. Israel's condemned the U.S. for selling out Israeli interests by signing the Memorandum of Understanding with Iran. It says it's frustrated that Israeli interests were set aside and has blamed the man in the White House, who just weeks ago they considered their champion. Jonathan Regev has more from Tel Aviv.
It was only a few weeks ago that U.S. President Donald Trump was one of the most popular figures in Israel, especially among those who support the current coalition. The tables have now turned following the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the United States and Iran. Many in Israel feel betrayed by the deal, which they see as a total capitulation to the Iranian demands, while completely putting aside the Israeli interests. Government officials are still careful to publicly criticize what is possibly the only friendly administration still remaining to Israel around the world, but others are openly saying Trump and his team sold out all of the Israeli interests in order to achieve a dubious agreement with Iran. In the short term, the most pressing question is that of Lebanon. Iran is openly saying any agreement includes the complete withdrawal of the Israeli forces from the Lebanese areas they control. Israel, however, is insisting on keeping its forces in their current positions, even if that leads to a crisis with Washington. In the longer term, Israel does not believe Iran will stop its nuclear program, warning they will find the first opportunity to violate any deal. All this before even mentioning the Iranian ballistic missile program and the assistance to its proxies. Neither of these problems is even mentioned in the MOU. All these issues bring the relations between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump to what is possibly their lowest point. All this at a very crucial time.
That was Jonathan Regev reporting. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is lashed out at Israeli cabinet members critical of the U.S.-Iran peace deal, saying Israel cannot secure itself through killing. The New York Times reports that Vance said some Israeli ministers have described the agreement as a threat to Israel's security and urged the government not to comply. He also noted that roughly two-thirds of Israel's defensive weapons come from the United States, which provides about $4 billion in annual military aid. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up, concerns over a secondary crisis in the DRC due to the Ebola virus.
Pulse Plus, a selection of the best podcasts in China, covering history, customs, music, literature, and in-depth dialogues. Find your way to a wealth of Chinese culture and thinking, all on Pulse Plus.
At 24 past the hour. The number of confirmed Ebola cases in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has surpassed 890, including over 230 deaths. The UN Population Fund warns of increasing risks of women contracting the virus due to their roles as primary household caregivers and frontline medical workers. The strain on healthcare infrastructure could also trigger a secondary crisis of maternal deaths. The UN has responded in 29 health zones in the DRC and appealed for $17 million to scale up sexual and reproductive health services and gender-based violence prevention and response. Fears over the Ebola virus also grow in Kenya. Enoch Sikoli has more on how Nairobi truck drivers are helping with virus control and prevention.
As East Africa remains on heightened alert following the latest Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, attention is now shifting to one particular group of workers whose movements spans thousands of kilometers across multiple countries: truck drivers. Every day, hundreds of trucks leave Kenya's capital carrying goods destined for Uganda, Rwanda, South Sudan, and the DRC. At the inland container depot in Embakasi, Stephen Kihima is preparing for another long journey westward.
We no longer shake hands. We do fist bumps or just wave, but we don't fear crossing borders because this is our job.
Kihima frequently passes through busy border crossings where thousands of travelers and transport workers converge each day. Kenya, Uganda and Rwanda have enhanced health screenings, temperature checks and awareness campaigns at border points. For truck drivers, these measures have now become part of their routine.
Most of us drivers have stopped eating food in those countries. We move with our own stoves and cook our food. Most of us don't go to the hotels to eat. We fear that the hotels might have the disease.
His sentiments are echoed by Boniface Macau, another driver who transports cargo between Kenya and Uganda several times a month.
We are facing a lot of challenges actually, because there's no way we can evade it. You see, we are intermingling with so many people on the way, of which you don't know who is affected.
Every day, hundreds of cargo trucks leave Nairobi carrying goods destined for Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, making truck drivers a critical link in regional trade and an important frontline in disease surveillance and prevention. Their extensive movement across countries also creates opportunities for infectious diseases to spread if proper measures are not followed.
When truck drivers are well informed about how the disease is spread, when they now go to those areas where maybe the disease, there are cases of that disease, of the Ebola virus disease, they will also know how to, how to interact with the population there. They will know what preventive measures to take.
Kenyan authorities have strengthened monitoring systems at key entry points and are working closely with regional partners to prevent cross-border transmission.
We are going to continue training everybody. We are going to have weekly briefs for truck drivers at these border points. That is what we have agreed.
For drivers like Kihima and Macau, staying informed is now as important as delivering cargo on time. And as goods continue to move across East Africa's transport corridors, these drivers are proving that the fight against Ebola is not confined to hospitals and laboratories, but also taking place on the region's highways.
That was Enoch Sikolia on Kenya's response to Ebola. The UN's top envoy for Libya is urging action following the conclusion of a 6-month dialogue. The special representative told the Security Council that the talks have created a Libyan-owned foundation for advancing elections, strengthening state institutions, and tackling instability. The dialogue is a key part of the UN political roadmap and ended on June 7th. Officials have stressed the need to turn the recommendations into action. In parallel, they're facilitating talks between rebel factions from the east and west to resolve disputed electoral laws and reconstitute the election commission. Officials have warned that if Libyan leaders cannot cooperate to create conditions for elections, the process alone will not deliver a democratically legitimate government. They say that Libyans hold primary responsibility, but stress that continued international support is critical to converting these processes into real outcomes for the country. 29 past the hour. Beijing, thunder showers overnight. It's sunny tomorrow, a low of 20, and it's up to 30 on Saturday. Shanghai will see moderate rainfall tonight, easing to light rain tomorrow, a low of 24 and a high of 30. Chongqing's cloudy this evening, a light rain developing, a low of 22 and a high of 34. Nanchang will see moderate rainfall tonight and through tomorrow, a low of 25 and a high of 31. Laos is getting a light rain through tomorrow, a low of 12 and a high of 25 degrees. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see 25 degrees this evening. Saturday, it'll be sunny, and the high is 37 degrees Celsius. It's time for a short break. So far this hour, people across China are now enjoying the annual Duanwu Festival holiday and its cultural traditions. US and Iranian negotiators are not meeting in Switzerland on Friday despite the agreement to stop the war and seek a permanent peace deal. And health workers fighting the Ebola virus in the DRC are concerned about a secondary crisis in the country. Shane Bigham with you. Stay with us here on the Beijing Hour.
From the refreshing cup of tea that starts your morning to the paper that you write on, the roots of many familiar parts of modern life can be traced back to ancient ideas. Join us on Made in Ancient China and discover how ideas born millennia ago became some of the world's greatest treasures. Made in Ancient China brings you stories of human ambition, inspiration, and connection. Now available on all major podcast platforms.
Shh, listen up. Can you hear the heartbeat of our world? It's vibrant and pulsating with the essence of life itself. From the stem of trees to the gurgle of rivers. From the silent strength of mountains to the icy whispers of glaciers. Even the solid ground beneath our feet. Right there, in the midst of all, beats the heart of humanity. What if those other heartbeats were to stop? Would ours keep on ticking?
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Friday. Still to come. In business, China's added billions to its consumer trade and subsidy program. In sports, Mexico is the first country to secure a spot in the World Cup knockout rounds. In culture and entertainment, the rise of Chinese animations in the spotlight at the Shanghai Film Festival. To contact us, you can email radio at cgtn.com or follow our X account at CGTN Radio. You're also welcome to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, Beyond Beijing, for the world's biggest stories, along with sharp insights and exclusive analysis. But now a check of the day's headlines. China's seeing nearly 240 million passenger trips on Friday, up 1.9% from the first day of the Duanwu Festival holiday. Railways are expected to handle 19.7 million trips, up 9%, while road passenger traffic is projected to reach 210 million trips, a gain of 1.4%. The Duanwu Festival, also known as Duanwu Festival, falls on Friday this year, with the public holiday running from Friday to Sunday. Chinese doctors are helping transform healthcare in Zambia by introducing advanced digestive endoscopy technology at a major hospital in Lusaka. The 26th Chinese medical team has trained local staff and helped establish gastrointestinal services at Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital. A consultant, Brighton Scolo, says the technology has made it possible to accurately diagnose stomach ulcers, gastric cancer, and colon cancer, conditions previously hard to detect. He credits Chinese support for strengthening diagnostic capacity and improving efficiency. The hospital now sees 10 to 15 patients daily through subsidized services. Around 300 local doctors have received training in endoscopic procedures so far. Team leader Zhang Yingjian says the collaboration focuses on technology transfer and professional training to build sustainable healthcare capacity in Zambia. The Swiss Foreign Ministry says the planned talks between the U.S. and Iran on Friday have been canceled. The announcement came after U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance withdrew from a planned trip to meet Iranian negotiators in Switzerland. The meeting had been expected to mark the first practical step in implementing recent understandings between Washington and Tehran. Following a memorandum of understanding signed on Thursday, Iran reopened the Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping for 60 days without transit fees, while the U.S. lifted a naval blockade on vessels to and from Iranian ports. Vance also announced a 60-day countdown toward a potential permanent agreement to end hostilities with Iran. The UN's humanitarian chief says the Gaza ceasefires brought some gains, but warns they're only the bare minimum. Tom Fletcher told the Security Council that denial rates for aid missions have dropped and hunger has decreased. However, he stressed that Gaza is being held together by unsustainable workarounds and that civilians cannot wait for more convenient diplomatic moments to receive basics for survival.
These fragile gains are the bare minimum of what Palestinians need and what we can provide and what international law demands. They reflect movement away from a catastrophic baseline, not the fulfillment of fundamental needs. Gaza is being held together by humanitarian workarounds and Palestinian perseverance, and this is unsustainable.
Palestinian ambassador Riyad Mansour urged the council to act, saying reasoning with the Israeli government will not work. He condemned the denial of humanitarian access and collective punishment, calling for accountability. Israel's ambassador defended his country's actions, saying restrictions at crossings are based on security concerns. A dire Ebola outbreak in eastern DRC has now reached nearly 840 confirmed cases and 196 deaths. Women are especially vulnerable as primary caregivers and frontline healthcare workers. The strain on hospitals is causing a secondary crisis. In Ituri province, 7 maternal deaths occurred in 1 week in May, compared to just 2 last year. Fear and stigma are keeping pregnant women away from clinics, raising risks of life-threatening home births. The UN agency is responding across 29 health zones, appealing for $17 million to protect sexual and reproductive health and prevent gender-based violence. Humanitarian coordinator Pacifique Kingowi stressed the importance of the assistance.
Permettez-moi d'être très clair.
Let me be very clear. Even in the midst of an Ebola epidemic, women do not stop giving birth. Women do not stop giving life. This is why the medical supplies contained in this kit are so crucial. This is not just a medical kit. Rather, it's a true lifeline.
There are 37,000 pregnant women in the affected zones. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in business, China's added billions to its consumer trade and subsidy program.
The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
Stock markets on the Chinese mainland and in Hong Kong were closed on Friday because of the Duanwu Festival holiday. Japan's Nikkei increased nearly 0.3%. South Korea's benchmark Korea Composite Stock Price Index lost over 0.1%. China's adding another 62.5 billion yuan, roughly $9.2 billion to its consumer trade and subsidy program. The new funding will be rolled out by the end of the month. This marks the third round of support measures this year, aimed at encouraging people to upgrade everything from refrigerators to smartphones. So far, Beijing's poured more than 185 billion yuan into equipment renewal across 2 earlier rounds, backing over 11,000 projects worth a total of around 840 billion yuan. Between January and May alone, 125 billion yuan in subsidies helped drive more than 820 billion yuan in sales and benefited over 110 million people. Hong Kong will start offering 5-year RMB Treasury bond futures from August 3rd. The Securities and Futures Commission of Hong Kong says the launch will provide international investors with an effective offshore hedging tool to meet their growing need for managing government bond-related risks. Chief Executive John Lee says the move will consolidate Hong Kong's position as a bond center by encouraging international investors to hold RMB Treasury bonds on a long-term basis. Financial Secretary Paul Chan credited the launch with enhancing Hong Kong's ecosystem of RMB-denominated products and deepening mutual market access with the Chinese mainland. Hong Kong's advanced 1 spot and now ranks 2nd in the World Competitiveness Yearbook 2026. This is the city's highest ranking from the Swiss-based International Institute of Management Development since 2019. The Asian financial hub climbed 1 spot from last year, marking its 3rd consecutive year of upward momentum. Among the 4 main competitiveness factors in the report, Hong Kong ranks 2nd globally in government efficiency and 3rd in business efficiency. In terms of sub-factors, the Special Administrative Region tops the rankings in tax policy and business legislation. It ranks 2nd globally in finance and 3rd in international trade, international investment, and education. The Hong Kong government says amid rapidly evolving geopolitical dynamics, the city's become a value hub that offers security and growth opportunities. China's top financial regulators have reiterated the country's commitment to curbing financial risk. They unveiled new measures at the just concluded 2026 Lu Jiazui Forum. Chen Tong reports.
At this year's Lu Jiazui Forum, innovation is the key. A basket of new measures and signals was announced. These new measures include improving the short-term interest rate operational framework, expanding the application of stock market's fifth set of standards to the artificial intelligence sector, and implementing a pilot scheme to facilitate outbound investment with cross-border reinsurance income. An action plan to develop offshore finance at the Shanghai Finance Center was also released. Regulators from China's banking and securities watchdog spoke at the opening ceremony, and their topics range from currencies, foreign exchange, and the stock market. But their addresses sent a consistent message. China plans to strengthen its agenda for expanded opening up.
I think it's really emphasizing on the importance of financial service sector. After all, that is the focus of the Lujiazui Forum. Two is I think China is continuing its efforts trying to be more reforming and opening up with both its financial service sector and overall its economic policy, which I think should be welcomed by the rest of the world.
China has also showed its commitment to curbing financial risks. Vice Premier He Lifeng said that China is committed to forestalling and diffusing financial risks.
Based on previous works and efforts over 3 years, risks stemming from local government debt, regional small and medium financial institutions and real estate have been effectively eased. The number of local government financing vehicles, outstanding operational financial debts, and high-risk local small and medium financial institutions has fallen by 70% versus 2012. Some down even more than 70%.
Financial regulators have repeatedly highlighted emerging industries as the next growth driver. For instance, the China Securities Regulatory Commission, the CSRC, backs IPOs of hard tech firms on the stock market. They cover quantum technology, biomanufacturing, and embodied intelligence. Forum participants agree these sectors merit greater investment and policy focus.
China is clearly leading the way, and AI, of course, comes into that as well. So these are areas where we see fast growth in China, which we want to partner with in the City of London.
I think China is really doubling down on its efforts trying to push innovation and technological-driven growth models where we have more and more new startup companies in artificial intelligence, in semiconductor, in new energy vehicles, gradually becoming globally important companies.
Launched in 2008, Lujiazui Forum convenes annually as the key platform for financial regulators to lay out their outlooks. Judging from this year's event, amid economic volatilities, China is proactively rolling out solutions to safeguard financial stability. Emerging technologies, as highlighted at the forum, will be the key breakthrough in the future.
That was Chen Tong reporting. As economic and trade ties between China and Europe deepen, more European firms are expanding their investment and footprint in China. Shui has a story of innovation between one of the world's leading pharmaceutical giants and China.
Hi, Emil. Nice to meet you.
Meet with Emil, the executive vice president of Novo Nordisk.
It's always like that in China. Everything is at high speed and high efficiency.
This week, a top executive delegation from Denmark, including him, has arrived in China, marking one of Novo Nordisk's largest visits to the country in recent years.
China is our largest market after the United States. It's my largest market. I look after the world outside the US, so it's critically important.
During their visit this time, Novo Nordisk is launching multiple new moves in Chinese market.
Now we've actually started launching new products in China as the first global market. So we've just launched a product this weekend called Kyonsu. That's a combination of semaglutide and a unique once-weekly insulin.
And this marks Novo Nordisk's first ever global product launch in China, ahead of the US, Europe, and its home market, Denmark. The firm views China's strong domestic innovation edge as strategically vital, alongside its massive market potential.
So we're excited about that, and the global study of how this drug works that we submitted to authorities around the world was actually led by a Chinese professor. So again, showing that now it's not just a matter of bringing innovation to China, it's also a matter of innovating for the world with Chinese healthcare professionals, with Chinese academics. And we were actually the first multinational company to open an R&D center here in Beijing, and we still have a lot of very, very competent colleagues here and keep evolving that. As I said, We just acquired an early asset in China that we are now developing. It's together with the United Laboratories. And then we keep investing. So since we first came to China many years ago, we have invested more than 17 billion yuan here. So a lot of investments. And just this year, we keep investing in our large production site in Tianjin.
And since China launched its weight management campaign in 2024, public awareness of healthy lifestyles has grown. Novo Nordisk is also building a comprehensive ecosystem for scientific weight loss to respond to this shift, such as its WeChat mini program for encouraging people to develop healthy daily habits, which is also based on the company's philosophy and culture.
That was Shui reporting. China's accelerating deployment of hyperspectral satellites capable of providing more accurate images of objects on Earth. It plans to launch at least 2 of these satellites in the second half of the year. These satellites can capture information beyond the visible spectrum, analyzing vegetation, soil, and other features based on their spectral signatures. Songbing Chen with Oriental Star Chain Company says China's hyperspectral satellites have their own advantages.
Compared to conventional optical satellites, hyperspectral satellites can accurately identify the unique fingerprint of each surface material and effectively distinguish between different types of vegetation. In addition, compared to international counterparts, China's hyperspectral satellites offer not only higher data quality, but also a more competitive price advantage.
China's commercial remote sensing technology capabilities for Earth observation are continuously evolving. The number of planned remote sensing satellites exceeds 10,000. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, Mexico becomes the first country to secure a spot in the World Cup knockout rounds.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story Podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
In sports, Mexico has become the first team from Group A to secure a place in the FIFA World Cup knockout stage after a 1-0 victory over South Korea in Guadalajara. The co-hosts claimed their second straight win of the tournament thanks to a second-half goal from Luis Romo. The midfielder capitalized on a goalkeeper error early in the second half to score the decisive goal and send the home crowd into celebration. South Korea came close to taking the lead before the break, with Captain Son Heung-min denied by a crucial goal line clearance from Edson Alvarez. However, Mexico held firm and maintained their advantage throughout the remainder of the match. The result lifted Mexico to 6 points from 2 matches, confirming them as Group A winners and securing home advantage for the round of 32. In other Group A action, South Africa and Czechia shared the points in a 1-1 draw, leaving both teams with work to do in their final group matches. Czechia struck early to take the lead, but South Africa fought back after the break and earned a late equalizer. The result gives each side its first point of the tournament after opening round defeats. Despite the drop, South Africa coach Hugo Bruce was encouraged by his team's performance and said he believes they can still reach the knockout stage.
I think we deserve more today because, again, we played a very good game, and you need a little bit luck also sometimes in a game. So that was not the case today when you shoot maybe through the legs or whatever. So there was always a leg or a body who could block the shot. But if we go on like that, and if we can make another performance like today, I think we have a chance to go in the second round.
Well, meantime, Czechia coach Miroslav Kobek expressed disappointment that his side failed to capitalize on several scoring opportunities.
Of course, we're sorry about the result because we believe we have the right to think that based on the chances we created, we were closer to victory. We were missing that second goal, and that would have probably sealed the game. Not probably, but 100%. However, that's football. Then a mistake like that happens. Unfortunate moment and unfortunate penalty. Until you score that second goal, you just haven't won, and we had quite a few opportunities there.
Well, the Group A standings are now led by Mexico on 6 points, with South Korea second on 3. Czechia and South Africa each have a point and must win their final group matches to keep their hopes of advancing alive. In Group B action from the World Cup, Switzerland and Canada both made strong statements in their latest matches. Switzerland bounced back from their opening draw with a commanding 4-1 victory over Bosnia and Herzegovina in Los Angeles. After a goalless first half, Switzerland found their rhythm late on, with John Manzambi making a decisive impact off the bench, helping to spark the breakthrough. The Swiss went on to take control of the match and secure a comfortable win that keeps them well placed in the group standings. Elsewhere, Canada produced a dominant display, sweeping aside Qatar 6-0. The result marked a major statement performance as Canada moved to the top of Group B on goal difference. Canada now leads the group ahead of Switzerland, setting up a crucial final round clash between the two sides, with knockout stage qualification still to be decided. A milestone moment in World Cup history will be marked this weekend, with Romanian referee Istvan Kovacs taking charge of the tournament's 1,000th match. FIFA confirmed that Kovacs will officiate the Group F clash between Tunisia and Japan at Monterrey Stadium on Saturday. 41-year-old Kovacs previously featured at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, where he served as a fourth official several times. Star forward Neymar has been ruled out of Brazil's Group C World Cup match against Haiti as he continues to recover from injury. The 34-year-old had only recently returned to training in Brazil's New Jersey base after missing his team's opening 1-1 draw with Morocco last week. Neymar's been sidelined since May with a grade 2 calf strain in his right leg, sustained while playing for Santos. In the latest setback in a long run of injury problems for Brazil's all-time leading scorer, who has 79 goals in 128 international appearances and has not featured for the national team since suffering an ACL injury in October 2023. Brazil, the 5-time world champions, face Haiti in Philadelphia on Friday before wrapping up their group stage against Scotland in Miami on Wednesday. They currently sit third in Group C, level on points with Morocco. Defender Danilo said Neymar remains a crucial influence on the squad.
Neymar is a player who, when he is on the pitch, just by being there, he can disrupt everything that our opponents have set up to neutralize our strengths. You cannot just leave him isolated against 2 or 3 defenders. You have to help him out. If you don't support him, he can't do his thing because he can't beat the odds alone. It is all about teamwork.
Brazil will be hoping to move forward without their star man as they look for their first win of the group stage. Germany is set to enter a new era following the 2026 FIFA World Cup after captain and legendary goalkeeper Manuel Neuer confirmed that he'll retire from international football once the tournament in North America concludes. The 2014 World Cup winner is aiming to end his tournament career or his international career on a high by helping Germany challenge for a record-equaling 5th world title. It comes after a difficult period for the national team, which suffered consecutive group stage exits in 2018 and 22. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in culture and entertainment, the rise of Chinese animations in the spotlight at the Shanghai Film Festival.
From north to south, east to west, people in China are chasing their dreams and leaving their mark. Want to know how they beat the odds and made a difference? Footprints brings you the true life stories of their journeys.
Oscar-nominated animator Will Betcher is the Golden Globe animation jury president of the 28th Shanghai International Film Festival. He praises the rise of Chinese animation and the handmade craft of classic stories of Afanti. Leo Mohan has more.
This is your first time in China, in Shanghai. So how is your experience at the Shanghai International Festival so far?
Well, I love it. It's my first time, in China. It's a great honor, honestly, to be here, to be the jury president. And I find all filmmaking very inspiring. Animation is a wonderful medium because it's limitless in terms of imagination. So I'll be thinking about creativity and how the imagination is used in these films. But ultimately, it will come down to the characters being believable and being engaging and resonating in some way with me.
We want to talk about Chinese animated film because, in recent years, we are developing very fast. Some of the best works, they're not only successful at box office, but also received critical acclaims. Have you watched any Chinese animated films?
Yes, but it's been limited, I would say, in the UK. But it's starting to become a lot more common now. And it's exciting because I know we hear about the success of these films. There's certain streaming services in the UK now which make international films more accessible. And this is a way that lots of younger viewers are discovering Chinese characters.
And you brought your little Shaun the sheep here.
Yes.
They're so cute.
So we have just finished filming a new Shaun the Sheep movie. But these characters are from the movie I directed with Rich Phelan maybe 5 years ago now, which was called Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon.
And speaking of clay animation, in China we also have a very successful animated film. It's called Stories of Afanti.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Yes.
This is a figure from China's Xinjiang. The main character is depicted to be a very wise, intelligent guy, tricking the kings and the noble families and helping the poor families. We grew up watching it and we love it so much. How do you like it?
I like it a lot. That's really cool. I like the style and the timing of it as well. And the pacing is different. But children today still love to see those slower stories, but with moral tales.
That was animator and film director Will Betcher. China's animation industry has celebrated its latest achievements with the announcement of the winners of the 22nd Golden Monkey King Awards. The awards ceremony, hosted by China Media Group, was part of the 22nd China International Cartoon and Animation Festival in Hangzhou. This year, 36 original animation works received honors, recognizing excellence across animated films, television series, short animations, and comics. Among the top winners, The Legend of Hei 2 took home the Gold Award for Animated Feature Film. Yao Chinese Folktales 2 won the Gold Award for Animated Series, while When We Were Grass received the Gold Award for Animated Short Film. The ongoing Beijing International Book Fairs hosted an event celebrating acclaimed Chinese children's book illustrator Cai Gao. Representatives from overseas publishers, literary agencies, and children's book distributors from Europe, North America, and Belt and Road partner countries and regions attended the event. They explored opportunities to introduce Cai's works to international readers. Cai's picture books, including Blazing City 1938 and How I Came to Be Me, have attracted growing global attention. Earlier this year, Cai became the first Chinese illustrator to receive the prestigious Hans Christian Andersen Award for Illustration, marking a milestone for China's original picture book publishing. And China's film market continues to show strong momentum, with total box office revenue for 2026 surpassing 16.5 billion yuan so far this year. It's more than $2.4 billion US. The Duanwu Festival holiday is expected to further boost cinema attendance, as nearly 20 new films are set to hit theaters during the 3-day break. 57 past the hour. Beijing will get thunder showers overnight. It becomes sunny tomorrow, though, a low of 20, and it's up to 30 on Saturday. Shanghai will see moderate rainfall tonight, a light rain tomorrow, a low of 24 and a high of 30. Chongqing's cloudy overnight, a light rain developing, a low of 22 and a high of 34. Nanchang will see moderate rainfall tonight and tomorrow, a low of 25 and a high of 31. Lhasa is getting some light rainfall tonight and tomorrow, a low of 12 degrees, and it's up to 25 on Saturday. And that's it for this edition of the Beijing Hour. Making news today, people across China are now enjoying the annual Duanwu Festival holiday and its cultural traditions. And US and Iranian negotiators are not meeting in Switzerland on Friday, despite the agreement to stop the war and seek a permanent peace deal. On behalf of the staff, this is Shane Bigham in the Chinese capital, hoping you'll join us for the next edition of the Beijing Hour and open a window to the world together.
Find the Beijing Hour at precisely 6 p.m. Beijing time. We meet you on podcast and on air every weekday. The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
He can't live without the Yellow River in his eyes.
The Yellow River is so noble and elegant.
Both my grandpa and dad made a living from the river.
Would you like to move away from the Yellow River?
I don't think I will. I love it so much.
The Yellow River, the second longest river in China, is regarded as a shaping force in the history, economy, and culture of northern China. Today, about 100 million people live within its water basin, making up nearly 9% of the country's population. How is climate change felt at its headwaters, and what are the locals doing to cope with it? What are the descendants of the boatmen doing? What has kept some people from leaving their home village by the river, and what has drawn others back? Could the fading fishing community revive in a time of digital transformation? From 2021 to 2024, our reporters visited the upper, middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River, talked to the herders, farmers, boatmen, fishermen and eco-activists who share a close bond with the river, and present their stories in pictures, podcasts and videos, all in our 12-part series, The Yellow River Mosaic, available only on CGTN Radio